Herd Line News.
Oh, Miami Heat overwhelmingly defeated the Hawks yesterday, 110-86. This game was over early. Trae Young scored 9 points and had 5 turnovers. So far this series, they've pretty much gone how Trae has gone. He had 8 points in Game 1, 6 turnovers. Game 2, 25 points, 10 turnovers. Game 3, 24 points and 3 turnovers. And this last game, he had 9 points, 5 turnovers. He leads all players with 24 turnovers this postseason. And his first 2 career playoff games being held under 10 points. So they're kind of going how Trae Young goes, which is sort of the issue with the Hawks. They are way too dependent on Trae Young.
And
they
also
need to balance things out.
Miami's really well coached. So Miami has got a Belichickian feel. They always take away what you do best and say, okay, go play left-handed. And they made Trae work for every shot. It's what Boston's done with Kevin Durant. Every shot. Kevin Durant has not had 3 easy shots in the entire series.
Well, when you have a veteran team that has postseason experience, you're generally going to have to be a really balanced team, or your star is going to have to be a superstar because they're going to play tough defense and make things uncomfortable for you in the postseason. Let's be honest, it's a really long regular season.
Yes.
Guys who play in the postseason know what you need to have ready in the postseason. So you're just not going to get the same defensive performances night in and night out in the NBA that you're going to see on a veteran team and the well-coached team in the postseason. And that's what the Hawks are running into. Now, obviously, Miami is a better team. They're the number 1 seed in the East for a reason.
Yeah.
But they outscored Atlanta 30-15 in the second quarter and never lost the lead after that. They now have a 3-1 lead in the series.
Yeah.
Game 5 is tomorrow, and Miami and the Heat are favored by 7, according to Fox Bets. 7 is a lot, but the way that the games have gone where Trae hasn't been contributing, it's been a wide margin. I do think the Heat will close it out tomorrow night. So the Nuggets were able to avoid a sweep by the Warriors yesterday, winning 126-121. Jokic fed Will Barton for a 3-pointer from the left corner with 8.3 seconds left to secure the lead. I will say this about Jokic. His passes are unbelievable.
Yeah, he's the best passing big since Sabonis. Also, this came down to me as Warriors just couldn't make a stop. I mean, listen, Draymond's like 6 inches shorter, and Draymond's a great defensive player, but they went to Jokic. He used his size late, and he set guys up for score. Golden State could not make a stop in the last 4 minutes. Their offense they were getting great looks. Klay Thompson was great all afternoon.
Well, Jokic is the MVP favorite for a reason. I mean, they've had a lot of injuries this year, and he is the reason why they're there. He had 37 points on 14 of 21 shooting, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. And Aaron Gordon also had 21 points. And he helped stifle Jordan Poole, who came in averaging 28.7 points and was held to 11. So that was a huge factor in this game as well. So we'll see how this goes. Game 5 is Wednesday. The Warriors are favored by 8.5. I also think that the Warriors will tighten it up and close this out, but it was a nice effort by the Nuggets. I will say this first round of the NBA playoffs has been the best in a very long time.
If you look at the second round matchups in the East, because I think we feel like Philly's going to win it, Miami's going to win it. Milwaukee has dusted off Chicago, and so we know, and Boston's going to win.
Up 3-0, yeah.
So the second round of the East, wow, Milwaukee, Boston. Wow.
Well, we got great matchups in the first round. Obviously, Boston, Celtics and the Nets, but they've all been really competitive for the most part, close games.
Yeah.
And even when it starts to feel like they're pulling away, like the Nuggets will get a game, the Hawks will get a game, and make it all interesting. So it's been a great first round series for the playoffs. And we've dealt with some pretty disappointing injuries. So Joel Embiid tore a ligament in his thumb during Game 3 against the Raptors. And it's something he's going to have to take care of after the playoffs.
I mean, it's painful. So in the basketball, you need to use your hand a lot. So I want to play. So obviously, gotta listen to what they have to say. So I would imagine that I keep playing and probably do something after the season.
He said his thumb impacts him the most when it comes to rebounding and passing. He had 21 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists in 39 minutes in Game 4.
Boy, I'll tell you, did they fleece Brooklyn in that deal, though? That team has such good chemistry. I really you know what? I don't think they'll win the East, but I really like Philly. I think Philly's really interesting. And Harden now has not even played great, and it still works.
Well, that's that's what you need from Harden. You need him to give whatever the team needs in each individual series.
So it's funny,
to win.
People bang on Harden because he doesn't look as quick as he did about 3 years ago when he got past people. But in the end, when he was scoring 33 and running out of gas, we all ripped him. So now let's say he scores 18 and lets Maxey emerge and is more dependable in the fourth quarter. I'm like, I'm good. Like we can't keep. He's a different player on this team. He's not needed to be the one. So it's like, if he facilitates and gives me 18, totally okay with it.
And when he did have to be the one, they had some success, but it's not like he won a championship way.
Yeah. He ran out of. He acknowledged he was so ball centric and so ball dominant. By the end of a series, he was shot.
Do what needs to be done to win games. At the end of the day, this is still a team game.
Yeah.
You're seeing the teams that have the good cultures, that have the good coaching, that have the veterans. They're the ones that are rising. Like, you have to have a little bit of balance to your roster. This is the issue with the Hawks. It can't all be how Trae Young goes. Other people have to step up.
Yeah.
So, that's what the Philadelphia, I think, has. I'm with you. I don't know if they have enough to win the East. Yeah. And this is obviously very disappointing news because Joel Embiid had an MVP level season, and he is the juice and the leader of that team. So hopefully he's able to play through it. He did have the fewest rebounds in the last 14 games played because of the thumb, but the Raptors were able to avoid the sweep, and Game 5 is tonight in Philly, and the Sixers have a chance to close out the series, which I'm sure they would like to do to give Joel Embiid some rest on that thumb. They're currently favored by 7.5, according to Fox Bet.
I wanted Russell Wilson to be in a better environment with an offensive coach and better weapons. I want to see Brady with better weapons. Matt Stafford with a better franchise. I like seeing stars be great, right? If you're into music, you don't want Jay-Z to have a bad producer. You want to see the greatest of the great be elevated. And Kevin Durant trails the Celtics 3-0, and they're done. And I said it after the second game. It's over. They have to work too hard for shots. So I'll get, in about 5 minutes, I'll let you hear some sound from Kevin Durant. But one of the things Kevin Durant said was, I'm thinking too much. No, time out. You didn't think enough. Kevin, you're not down 3-0 because you're thinking too much. You're down 3-0 because you didn't give it enough thought. You left Steve Kerr for Steve Nash. Steve Nash had never been an assistant coach. Steve Kerr's a championship winning coach. He was a great broadcaster, a very good GM. It's a terrible decision. You left Steph Curry, the most selfless superstar maybe in any sport ever. Dude's coming off the bench now against Denver to give Jordan Poole more minutes for Kyrie Irving. You're not thinking too much. You didn't think enough. At one point, you and Kyrie were on a podcast and you said, we don't need coaches. In the history of sports, college and pro, there's never been a dynasty without a great coach. Not one. Look it up. Bill Walsh, Chuck Noll, Popovich, Saban, Gino Auriemma, Pat Summitt. Men's sports, women's sports, college, pro. Never been a dynasty without a great coach. You and Kyrie, we'll coach. Come on, man. Listen, I am not. NBA media and NBA agents are terrified to lose access to the stars. And it is a star-driven league. Increasingly, for the record, so is the NFL. But the NFL agents would go to their clients and say, don't do that, it's idiotic. The NFL media crushes its players. What would we do if Patrick Mahomes decided, I'm going to leave Andy Reid, Brett Veach, that roster, those fans, and go to the Jets because, I got a buddy, a slot receiver. You'd be like, his agent would go, no, I'm not going to represent you. I'm not going to sign off on that move. NFL media would crush him. Fans would roll their eyes at him. In the NBA, Kevin Durant leaves the Warriors for Brooklyn, and I was the only national person that was like, what are you doing? This is a terrible move. It's an awful move. What are you doing, man? You're picking the wrong guy to go to Vegas for the weekend with. You're going to end up broke. So it's like it's time. And by the way, the more power you give these NBA superstars, and not many have this power, but some do, the more power you give these NBA superstars. Anybody noticing a trend? Their team gets worse. I'm not a shut up and dribble guy. I like my athletes to have opinions. But for all athletes in all sports, cool it on thinking you know personnel. Remember Harden? I love Westbrook. We're guys. That's fine. That's one thing to be friends. It's another to play well together. And by the way, this isn't just for athletes. Anytime a coach in the NFL gets too much personnel power, Belichick, Pete Carroll, what happens to their drafts? Bill Belichick last year, best Patriot draft in about 7 years. Why? Belichick backed off. Let the scouts do it. Coaching's hard. Playing's hard. Scouting's hard. Owning, I don't know if it's hard, but it's a reward for years and years of doing stuff with your capital and making a lot of money. But this stuff's all individually very difficult. I rip owners when they try to be a GM and coach. I rip owners. I rip the billionaires. Like, get out of the GM. Stop this stuff. Stop coaching. You're a billionaire. You're a business guy. You're not a GM. So I'm going to rip players like LeBron, who wanted Westbrook, and KD, who left Steph for Kyrie. What are you doing? You're not a personnel guy. You're not watching college games for the draft. So, Kevin Durant is a remarkable player, and he is now trapped. First of all, he's stuck with Ben Simmons. You can't trade that guy now. In fact, there's a story this morning. The Brooklyn Nets organization made sure